Hello students, how are you all? Hope so all of you are fine and happy. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Biology in Seconds. Today we will discuss the logical problems. Let's start.
Students, we are at the lightboard, and as I have just told you in the intro, today we are going to discuss the most critical and the most difficult questions of logical reasoning. सबसे ज़्यादा आप कंफ्यूज इसी में होते हो, सबसे ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लमेटिक भी यही होता है. ये कौन से वाले क्वेश्चंस हैं? ये वही वाले क्वेश्चंस हैं जिसमें आ रहा होता है कि सम कैट्स आर डॉग्स एंड सम डॉग्स आर बटरफ्लाइज, और आप हमेशा इस पे बड़े कंफ्यूज, बड़े अपसेट रहते हो कि यार ये क्या बदतमीज़ी है, कि ये क्या हो रहा है हमारे साथ, हम ये किस तरह की लॉजिकल रीजनिंग है. आज हम उसको सॉल्व करेंगे, एंड आई डू होप दैट आफ्टर लिसनिंग टू दीज टू लेक्चर्स हम अब रिकॉर्ड करें, एक नेक्स्ट लेक्चर आपका होगा. आफ्टर लिसनिंग टू दीज टू लेक्चर्स यू विल बी एब्सोल्युटली क्लियर इन योर हेड कि इन क्वेश्चंस को हमने कैसे अटेम्प्ट करना है. बट बिफोर मूविंग ऑन, इसको हम लॉजिकल प्रॉब्लम्स भी कहते हैं, एंड इट इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड syllogism. अब both words mean the same thing. ठीक है, अभी इसको एक्सप्लेन भी करता हूं कि कैसे इन दोनों का मतलब सेम है. So now what is syllogism? हम देखते हैं. It is actually an art of forming or validating a conclusion based on two premises. एटलीस्ट दो प्रेमिसेस जो है उस पे बेस्ड एक आपने आर्ग्यूमेंट तख्लीक करना होता है ना. आर्ग्यूमेंट क्या होता है वो भी देखते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ आई से लेट्स टेक एन एग्जाम्पल एंड आई विल शो यू कि व्हाट आर एक्चुअली प्रेमिसेस. लेट्स से आई से Sarah is a girl. Now that is your premise. ये एक confirmed fact है. It is a fact that has been told to you that Sarah is a girl. Secondly, you will be given an argument. All girls are intelligent. That is also a premise. Now let me tell you that you'll have to believe your premises. You'll have to believe that these are true, because otherwise if you do not believe them, you will not be able to draw your conclusion. चाहे आपको सही लग रहा हो या ना लग रहा हो. ठीक है, जैसे सम टाइम हो सकता है सम पीपल मे आर्ग्यू दैट ऑल गर्ल्स आर नॉट इंटेलिजेंट. दैट इज योर ओपिनियन, बट फॉर द सेक ऑफ डिस्कशन, फॉर द सेक ऑफ प्रूविंग आवर conclusion, or for the sake of drawing that conclusion, we need to believe that the premises are true. So Sarah is a girl and all girls are intelligent. अब conclusion क्या draw हो सकता है इस पे? ये क्या होगा? That will be your conclusion. Why? Because you told us that Sarah is a girl, and then you said all girls are intelligent, and because Sarah is also a girl, so Sarah will definitely be intelligent. So this is what we mean by a syllogism और लॉजिकल प्रॉब्लम्स, जहां आप क्या करते हो, दो प्रेमिसेस के बेस पे एक कंक्लूजन आप ड्रॉ करते हो. यहां जो पैटर्न है आपका, in MDCAT that is a bit different. MDCAT में ये थोड़ा फर्क आ जाएगा. कैसे फर्क आ जाएगा? Because here you will not be able to draw that conclusion. Here you will only have to validate the conclusion. होगा क्या? Two premises will be given. On the basis of these two premises, you will have to validate the conclusions. आपको क्या करना होगा? Conclusions को validate करना होगा कि whether they are true or not. And the options you will be given is only one follows, beta only two follows, Charlie is either one or two follows, delta neither one or two follows, and eta both one and two follow. Now, how can you validate these two conclusions, whether they are true or false, or which one is true and which one will not follow? इसके लिए आपको क्या करना होगा? सबसे पहले you will have to know the types of premises. कि जो premises हैं इनकी कितनी types हैं और इनको किस तरह से draw करती हैं, and then using the Venn diagram we shall try to solve all these questions without any error. अब ये Venn diagram बना इसलिए रहा हूँ आपके लिए कि इससे बड़ा ही सिंपल हो जाएगा आपके लिए चीज़ों को हैंडल करना और बड़ा एरर फ्री भी हो जाएगा. बट बिफोर मूविंग ऑन टू Venn diagram, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द types of premises. Now they are divided into two different types, or you can say there are two different methods of categorizing premises. One is called positive and the other one is called negative. And on the other hand, we also categorize them on the basis of universal and then particular. Now, what do we mean by universal positive? It means it can be represented like all A are B. This is what we mean when we say universal positive. कि दुनिया के तमाम ए क्या होंगे, बी होंगे. Why it is called universal positive? Because obviously we are confessing कि A, B होंगे, affirmative statement है. And because we are saying it for all the A's, that is why we are calling it universal positive. Then universal negatives क्या होते हैं, जिसमें हम कहते हैं no A or B. No A or B. Now this is actually universal negative. Why it is negative? Because we are negating no A or B, and because it applies to every A, that is why we are calling it universal negative. But एक चीज़ याद रखें, आगे जब हम इसको ड्रॉ भी करेंगे तो it does not mean that all A are B, it means all B are A. रिवर्स नहीं हम अप्लाई करेंगे, ठीक है. All A are B, it does not necessarily mean that all B are A as well. अभी डायग्राम बनेंगी तो आपको दिखा भी दूंगा. पर्टिकुलर नेगेटिव और पर्टिकुलर पॉजिटिव क्या होता है जी? When we say some A or B, तो some A or B क्या है? पर्टिकुलर पॉजिटिव है. Because here we are admitting that there are some, but it does not apply to every A. It applies to only particulars A. इसलिए हम इसको क्या कह रहे हैं? पर्टिकुलर पॉजिटिव कह रहे हैं. And then some A are not B. This is what we call particular negative. ठीक है, इसी को हम क्या कहते हैं? पर्टिकुलर नेगेटिव कहते हैं. Why we call it negative? Because we are negating something and we are not applying it to all the A's. We are saying that only some A's are not B. So we are actually choosing. That is why it is called particular negative. So ये चार सिनेरियोज हैं. इन चार सिनेरियोज को हमने ड्रॉ करना होता है, and then using the Venn diagram we can actually solve these questions without any error and without any hassle. बिल्कुल किसी परेशानी के बगैर हम इन क्वेश्चंस को सॉल्व कर सकते हैं. सो लेट्स ड्रॉ ऑल दिस सिनेरियोज और फिर हम देखते हैं कि किस तरह से हम इन क्वेश्चंस को सॉल्व करेंगे. ले मेरे बच्चों, हम आ गए हैं वेन डायग्राम्स पे. एंड व्हाई दे आर कॉल्ड वेन डायग्राम? बिकॉज दिस मेथड वाज बेसिकली इन्वेंटेड बाय जॉन वेन. दैट इज व्हाई दे आर कॉल्ड वेन डायग्राम्स. अब ये डिफरेंट सिनेरियोज हैं इन डायग्राम्स में जो हमने प्रेजेंट किए. I've told you that there can only be 4 premises, and the first one was universal positive. और universal positive क्या था? All A are B. That is the first type of premise we can have. अब all A are B ये कैसे ड्रॉ कर सकते हैं? It can be drawn either in this way. Here all A are actually B, जिसमें जो bigger circle है that actually represents B and the smaller circle represents A. It is very evident from this example that all A are B. It does not necessarily mean all B are A. If you conclude this, it will be something faulty. All B are not A, specifically when we draw it in this manner. But this premise cannot only be drawn in this particular way. It can also be drawn as this A and B. Here too, all A are B. आपने उस premise को draw करने की जितनी possibilities हैं वो सारी की सारी आपने share करनी है. ठीक है, वो सारी की सारी आपने ड्रॉ करनी है. Only then you will be able to reach the right conclusion. Now all A are B. It can be represented as figure 1.1 and it can also be represented as figure 1.2. ये दो तरीके हम इसको रिप्रेजेंट करने के कर सकते हैं. अब इसमें आप करेंगे तो फिर तो आपको ये लगेगा कि बिल्कुल सही है कि all B are A. But if you go to figure 1.1, you can tell that all A are B does not mean all B are A. So only this conclusion, this premise will hold true. दूसरे वाले को आपने खुद ही से premise जो है वो उसका नहीं बनाना. Premise जो है वो कौन बनाएगा? It will already be given. Second one, the easiest one to do is universal negative. That is actually no A or B. आसान तरीन यही है. Here we have A and here we have B. So you can conclude that all A, no A or B. इसको एक और तरीके से भी वो कह देते हैं, वो कहते हैं कि all A are not B. Remember, it is the same thing. Do not go in the reverse direction. Normally what we tend to do when we say all A are not B, तो हमें लगता है कि शायद इसका मतलब है कि some A's are B. No, it means no A is actually B. So इसका मतलब सेम ही है. ये बहुत क्रिटिकल एरर करते हैं आप लोग, and this has to be rectified. This has to be seen कि no A or B is the same as all A are not B, because both are universally negating a fact. कि इनमें से कोई भी A जो है वो B नहीं है, और यहाँ मैं कह रहा हूँ कि सारे के सारे A जो है वो B नहीं है. So it means the same thing. So इससे आपने कंफ्यूज नहीं होना, दोनों का मतलब सेम है. Now we come to the most tricky part of these questions, and that is the third premise, which states some A or B. Now again, reverse में खुद ही नहीं चले जाना कि some B are not A. No need to go that way. Be confined to your premise. That is the most important thing. That is the key to solving these questions. अगर आप ये नहीं करोगे तो फिर ये questions कभी भी solve नहीं होंगे. So some A or B, it can be drawn in so many different ways. This is A and this is B. You can tell कि some A's are B, और वो some A's कहाँ show हो रहे हैं? That is actually that shaded area actually describes the A which are actually B. On the other hand, it can also be written as A, B. यहाँ भी है कि some A's are B. अब आप कहेंगे कि सर ये तो फिर वो हो गया all A are B. What you have to look for is that you can draw all the diagrams, all the possible scenarios that actually do not violate your statement. ये बड़ी important बात बता दूं. वो सारे के सारे scenarios you can build that is not violating your statement. Now our statement some A are B. तो yes, here some A are B. उसको violate तो नहीं कर रहा ना. हमें ये नहीं कहा हुआ कि no A are B. फिर हम ये बनाते, या फिर अगर हम ये स्टेटमेंट बनाते तो it would have been a faulty diagram, a faulty representation of the premise. आपने वो सारी representation, सारी possible representations बना लेनी है that can be possible without violating the premise, without violating the statement. Got it? Okay. Now this some A and B, some A or B can also be described as A, and here we have B. Now B is the bigger circle, and out of those B's some A are actually B. तो ये भी बन सकता है. Then it can also be like that in the reverse form. Here this is B and the larger circle is, the bigger circle is A. So those A's which lie in that smaller region, that smaller circle, are also B's. तो ये भी जो है वो बन सकता है. So this is the most important and trickiest part of these questions कि आपने sum A और B को कैसे ड्रॉ करना है. ऐसे भी ड्रॉ हो सकते हैं, ऐसे भी ड्रॉ हो सकते हैं, इस तरह से भी ड्रॉ हो सकते हैं और इस तरह से भी ड्रॉ हो सकते हैं. Got it? Now moving on to our last one. Last premise was sum A or not B. ठीक है, categorically आपको बता दिया sum A or not B. It can also be drawn in this manner. Here we have A and on the other hand we have B. Now we are not talking about that shaded area, because that shaded area was some A's that are B. We are talking about that unshaded areas. Some A are not B. कुछ तो हैं but कुछ नहीं है. Here remember, again I am telling you, अगर आप ये कह लेंगे ना some A or B, it will be a faulty thing to do. Be confined to the premise you have. बस उससे आगे पीछे खुद से अपनी जो है ना लॉजिक लड़ाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. No need to do it. Absolutely there is no need to do it. Only draw what is being asked. Reverse logic apply नहीं करनी. अगर लगता तो यही है कि some A's are not B, it means some A's are definitely B. For example, if I say कि some Pakistanis are not intelligent, it does not mean कि some are. या रिवर्स में ले जाएंगे, if I say कि some Pakistanis are not foolish, it does not necessarily mean that some are. ये कोई ज़रूरी नहीं है उसमें. Why? अभी अगली एग्जाम्पल में आपको पता लग जाएगा इसका. If I say A and B, it's quite clear. Some A are not B. तो आप कहेंगे सर वो तो फिर यहाँ पे भी यही आ रहा था. तो स्टेटमेंट तो वायलेट नहीं हो रही थी ना. यहाँ भी हम क्या कह रहे हैं, सम एज आर नॉट बी. तो यस सम एज आर नॉट बी. सम की कोई लिमिट तो नहीं दी हुई कि कितनी. तो सम एज आर डेफिनेटली नॉट बी. इट इज नॉट वायलेटिंग द स्टेटमेंट. वायलेशन जुर्म है. वायलेशन के उस पैराफ्री के अंदर रहते रहते you can create as many scenarios as you can, and these are the possible scenarios I am sharing it with all of you. And then in a way we can share it like A and B. Here some A's are definitely not B, because B is the smaller circle and A is the bigger circle. और अगर हम mathematical terms में बात करें तो B is the subset of A, B is the proper subset of A, but A is not the proper subset of B. So some of the A's will not be the part of B, while all the B's will be the part of A. तो वो रिवर्स हमें अप्लाई करने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है. हमने जस्ट सिर्फ ये चार चीज़ें ड्रॉ करनी है. रिपीट कर रहा हूँ so that you may understand thoroughly, because the questions we shall be doing will be based on the combination of these four shapes. All A's are B. It can be represented in two manners. This one where A will be the proper subset of B. यहाँ भी इसको represent किया जा सकता है. No A or B. Obviously this is the easiest. No A or B. Then some A or B can be represented in these four possible scenarios. A and B, they will be intersecting each other, where the shaded portion will be the A's which are actually B. And here some A's are B. एक ही circle में दोनों को रख देंगे. Then B and A, you can guess that some A's are obviously B. And here too, reverse जब कर देंगे तो तब भी some A's will remain B's. Then some A are not B. It can be represented through this, through these three shapes. A is not B. This unshaded part is not B. It can be represented in this manner as well, and it can be represented in this manner as well. So अब हम चलते हैं अपने questions पे and let's see what we have in our questions. ले मेरे बच्चों हम start करें अपना question. और the statements we have are, number 1, some swords are rusty, and the 2, all swords are sharp. And the conclusion we are drawing, number 1 is some rusty things are sharp and beta some rusty things are not sharp. And the conclusions we have, the first one is only one follows. Beta is only 2 follows. Charlie is either 1 or 2 follows. Delta is neither 1 or 2 follows, and eta is both 1 and 2 follow. Now, how to do it? We have to use the Venn diagram, and we'll draw all possible scenarios, and then we shall try to combine these scenarios to validate these conclusions. Now, some swords are rusty. It can be drawn in different ways. We know we have here we have swords and here we have rusty. एक तो ये था. The other method was swords and rusty. It can also be drawn like that. Then we had another option where we said that some swords are rusty. ये भी हो सकता था. And then we had this fourth one where we used this diagram to show that some swords are rusty. Then all swords are sharp. Second premise को अगर हम, ये हमारा first premise है जिसको हम draw कर रहे हैं. If we draw the second premise, it is all swords are rusty. It can be drawn in 2 ways. these are the swords and these are rusty things. And it can also be drawn like this. Swords and, sorry, it was actually sharp. It was not rusty. It is actually sharp. It is sword and all these swords are sharp. So in this way we can draw these two premises. Now how to validate, इसको validate conclusions को कैसे करना है? Some rusty things are sharp. अब हम क्या करेंगे, इन सब को evaluate करेंगे, combine भी कर सकते हैं, sometime हमें combine करने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ती. Let's see कि all rusty things are sharp or not. So now when we have created all these scenarios, ये हमने सब scenarios देख लिए, तो अच्छा एडिटर साहब आप ना प्रीवियस जब ये मैंने बनाए हैं ना, तो उसके बाद से उसको कट करके वो थोड़ा सा देख लीजिएगा, चेक कर लेंगे कि कहाँ उसका सिनेरियो बना है, लिंक कर दीजिएगा उसको सही से. So now we have created all the scenarios possible using these two statements. Now to validate these conclusions, हमें क्या करना होगा, इन shapes को combine करना होगा, इन diagrams को combine करना होगा. Only then we shall be able to validate our statements. So सबसे पहले हम क्या करेंगे, इन दोनों को combine कर लेंगे, फिर इसके साथ combine कर लेंगे और हम उसी तरीके से different चीज़ें करते चले जाएंगे. So let's combine these two. अब देखिए swords तो इसमें same है, तो हम क्या करते हैं, the first can be this is sword and these things are sharp, और ये क्या आ जाएगा, that will obviously be rusty. अब इसमें हमने क्या किया, we have done nothing, we have just combined shape 1 with this one, like if it is 1.1 and if it is 2.1, so this shape is actually a combination of 1.1 plus 2.1. एक सिनेरियो ये बन सकता है. सेकेंड, हम इस सिनेरियो पे चलते हैं, इसको हम कंबाइन करते हैं, तो यू कैन सी here S and sharp, they will remain the same, and then we have actually R. So ये एक स्टेटमेंट होगी. Then हम इस स्टेटमेंट को जब इसके साथ कंपेयर करेंगे, कंबाइन करेंगे, तो it will be actually S and R, and we have this shape as well, sharp. So this will be our SH, because हमने इसमें just हमने क्या किया, उस R को हमने add कर लिया. And then we combine this shape with this one, S, and then SH, and then we have R. They are all pointing towards the same direction. अब इसको भी इसके साथ combine करके देख लेते हैं. This one, this is S, this is R, and all swords are sharp, so it must be something like that. And then if we combine this, we already have that. लेकिन फिर भी लिख लेते हैं SH, and then because all sword are sharp, तो एक तो ये हो जाएगा, and then some swords are rusty, तो हम बना सकते हैं. Now you can check the conclusions. Some rusty things are sharp. अब इसको आप किसी भी डायग्राम में रख के देखेंगे तो it will be true in all 6 scenarios. Like here, some rusty things are sharp, obviously. Some rusty things are sharp. Here too, some of the rusty things, this shaded area is sharp. Here too, some rusty things are sharp. Here too, some rusty things are sharp. If we talk about this one, it holds true, some rusty things are sharp. And here too, some of the rusty things are sharp. So we can safely say that conclusion 1 follows in every scenario. ये तो हर चीज में चलेगी. And then some rusty things are not sharp. It cannot be concluded because here it seems true. यहाँ तो बिल्कुल सही लग रहा है. यहाँ भी शायद ये ठीक लग रहा है. But if we come to this one, even this one and this one, these shapes clearly tell us that some rusty things are not sharp. ये चीज़ जो है ये correct नहीं है, because here we can see that all the rusty things almost are sharp. So this argument does not hold any water. So our correct option will always be option alpha. This is how actually you can validate these things. कि पहले आप ये scenarios बनाएंगे and then you will implement all these scenarios in different cases and you will get to know yourself कि किस तरह से हम उन scenarios को, उन diagrams को combine करेंगे तो हमें बड़ा categorically उसका आंसर मिल जाएगा. अब हम चलते हैं अपनी next example पे. Ladies students, we have another example for you. And the statement 1 is all birds are tall, and statement 2 is some tall are hen. So ये दो statements जो हैं वो आपके सामने हैं. And now the conclusions we have are number 1 is some birds are hens and beta, some hens are tall. Now we have the same options. Alpha, only one follows. Beta, only two follows. Charlie, either one or two follows. Delta, neither one or two, neither one nor two follows, and eta is both 1 and 2 follow. So let's draw the premises we have. First one is all birds are tall. So हम क्या करेंगे? It can be represented in two different manners. One is this method where we have a smaller circle that is for birds and the bigger circle is for tall. Here all birds are tall. Another way to describe that is birds and tall. Here you can see that it is also evident that all birds are tall. This is actually universal positive or universal affirmative. Then some tall are hen. Now some, it can be represented in various ways. We all know. How can you represent? It can be represented like this. That is hen and that is tall. Some tall are hen. It can also be represented as this figure, where some tall are hen. It can also be represented as here too, some talls are hen, and it can also be represented as tall and hen. So these are the 6 categories or the 6 shapes we can draw based on these premises. अब हमें क्या करना है, इनको combine करना है so that we can check whether these conclusions hold true or not. And to check all the possible representations or the possible description of these two premises, let's combine them. पहले हम इसको combine कर लेते हैं, इन दोनों को. अब tall तो सेम ही है, बेसिकली हमने क्या करना है, tall तो सेम ही रहेगा ना, age को हमने इसमें मर्ज करना है. And that is actually age. इनका मर्जर यही बनेगा. Then हम जब इसको कंबाइन करेंगे तो इसमें tall जो है वो तो सेम है. That is actually tall, and what we have to add is tall and hen. ये तो सेम रहेगा, and we have to add is bird. Then इसको हम कंपेयर करेंगे, थर्ड कंबाइन करेंगे इसके साथ. It will be that is actually tall, और age क्या रहेगा, age इसके साथ ही रहेगा, because obviously age हमारा क्या था, that some tall are hen, तो that is correct, and all birds are tall, तो ये भी क्या है, ये भी यहाँ पर बिल्कुल करेक्ट है. और फिर हम इसको कर सकते हैं इसके साथ भी कंबाइन. You can see that tall and age, and obviously these are the birds. Birds हमने, क्योंकि T और H यहाँ पर क्या रहेगा, सेम रहेगा. Now you can use these two to combine. इनको भी अगर आप combine करेंगे तो देख लीजिएगा, B और T तो सेम है, so B and T ये सेम रहेंगे, और H क्या होगा, that will be different. यहाँ भी B और T सेम रहेंगे, और H क्या होगा, B और T तो सेम है ना, तो B and T, और यहाँ क्या आ जाएगा, that will be H, और यहाँ उसको कंपेयर करेंगे तो तब भी B and T ये सेम रहेंगे, और साथ क्या आ जाएगा, इनके H आ जाएगा. और इसको जब आप कंपेयर करेंगे, T और H सेम रहेगा, T और H, और साथ क्या आ जाएगा, उसके B आ जाएगा, जो हम ऑलरेडी ऊपर भी कर चुके. सो अब हम इनको कंपेयर करते हैं कि लेट्स सी ये कंक्लूजन्स जो हैं ये वैलिडेट होती हैं या नहीं होती. सम बर्ड्स आर hen. You can see it does not apply here. यहाँ पर no bird is actually hen. Okay. यहाँ पर ठीक है, यहाँ पर तो क्या हो जाएगा, बिल्कुल ही इनको कंबाइन करेंगे तो दिस स्टेटमेंट विल नॉट होल्ड ट्रू. सो जैसे ही किसी एक में भी वो मिस होगी तो हमें पता लग जाएगा कि इट कैन नॉट बी आवर कंक्लूजन. इफ वी गो टू द सेकेंड वन, सम हेन्स आर टॉल, इसको देखें, इट विल बी ट्रू इन एवरी केस. हेन्स आर टॉल, hens are tall, here hens are tall, here hens are actually tall. यहाँ भी ठीक है, यहाँ भी ठीक है, इधर भी सही है और इधर भी सही है. So some hens are tall in every scenario we have presented. So our right option in this MCQ will be option beta, because it is the only thing that can be seen in every case we have presented in the form of diagram. So इस तरह से आप बड़ा easily, बड़ा clearly अपनी चीज़ें जो है उसको manage कर सकते हो, and there will be no possibility of error while attempting these questions. Now we are moving to the third and the most tricky one, that is actually either one or two follows. That is the most difficult thing normally you have. So आइए देखते हैं कि इसमें हम अपनी options कैसे fit in करेंगे. Let's students, we are heading towards another example, or let's see what we have. The statement 1 is all bags are cakes, and statement 2 is all lamps are cakes. And if we talk about the conclusions, they are the one, some lamps are bags, and beta, no lamp is a bag. And talking about the options, again they are the same, only one follows, beta, only two follows, Charlie, either one or two follows, delta, neither one nor two follows, and eta, both 1 and 2 follow. So now we are going to draw all the possibilities as per our discussion. So all bags are cakes, दो तरह से हम बना सकते हैं. We all know, we have been doing it repeatedly. All bags are actually cakes, and it can also be drawn as this one, all bags are actually cakes. अब इन दोनों में हम देख रहे हैं कि it is the same thing. Then all lamps are cakes. It can be drawn in the similar fashion. All lamps are cakes, and then we can also draw it, all lamps are cakes. Okay. Now we have to combine these two figures and see कि हमारी conclusions ठीक हैं या नहीं. So let's combine the first one. ये तो obviously C रहेगा, and here we place lamps and we can also place bags, because यही हमारी इन दो conditions को satisfy करेगा. Here all lamps are cakes and all bags are cakes. So it is okay. इसको भी हम combine कर सकते हैं. पहले इसको इसके साथ combine कर लेते हैं. इन दोनों को let's combine. Now cakes will remain the same, and then we are talking about lamps, and here we are talking about bags. अब इसको इसके साथ compare कर लेते हैं तो it will be like bag, cakes and lamps. सेम आ जाएगा. और इसको जब इसके साथ combine करेंगे, combination बनाएंगे, तो it will be actually cakes and bags, and here we will have the lamps. ठीक है. So इसमें अब आप देखें सारी हमारी conditions fulfill हो रही हैं. All bags are lamps. ये इस तरह भी बनाया जा सकता है. And all lamps are all bags are cakes and all lamps are cake. That is fair enough. यहाँ भी बिल्कुल वही है. ठीक है. अब हम conclusions देखते हैं. Some lamps are bags. Some lamps are bags. ये देखिए, यहाँ पर ये क्या हो रही है? वायलेट हो रही है. यहाँ पे भी क्या हो रही है? वायलेट हो रही है. यहाँ पर ये ठीक है. Some lamps are bags, and here also it holds true. Sorry, यहाँ बिल्कुल ठीक है ये. So some lamps are bags. It holds true in 3 cases. And no lamp is a bag. अब ये देखें, यहाँ पर तो ये बिल्कुल करेक्ट है. यहाँ पर no lamp is a bag, that is incorrect. यहाँ भी क्या है? Incorrect. यहाँ भी क्या है? Incorrect. So you can feel that if one statement is held true and the other one goes false. अब ये बड़ी important चीज़ है. Either one or either two is the most difficult question to attempt. Here look, if we say some lamps are bags, तो some lamps are bags ये यहाँ पर true नहीं है, ऐसा ही है. But here no lamp is a bag ये यहाँ पर क्या है? True है. So figure 1.1 में हमारी क्या हो रही है? This conclusion holds true. जबकि दूसरी तरफ some lamps are bags, ये देखें, ये यहाँ पर क्या है? यहाँ पर ये गलत प्रूव हो रही है. Some lamps are bag इसके अलावा ये ठीक हो सकती है. Some lamps are bag ये भी ठीक हो सकती है. And some lamps are bag ये भी ठीक हो सकती है. So इन दोनों में क्या हो सकती है? कोई एक ही conclusion ठीक हो सकती है. None of them is actually qualifying all. But अगर हम एक को choose कर लें कि suppose if we are going for this shape 1.1, option 2 holds correct. And if we exclude that, then option 1 holds true in the remaining 3 cases. So we can safely say that here our right option is either 1 or 2. That if you try to prove the option 1, you'll have to compromise on option 2. And if you try to prove option 2, you'll have to compromise the option 1. So that is where we use either 1 or 2 follows. ये दोनों same time पे follow नहीं हो सकती, दोनों में से कोई एक ही follow होगी. So that was it for today. आज के lecture में हम ये 3 ही करेंगे, and in the next lecture we will discuss the remaining 2 scenarios of logical deductions. Ladies students, we are at the light board, and today, as I've told you in the intro, we are going to discuss some more scenarios of logical problems. We have discussed the 3 scenarios in the last lecture, that was only 1 follow, only 2 follows, and either 1 or 2 follows. Now we are going to discuss the other 2 scenarios, the remaining 2 scenarios of logical problems. The first statement we have is some kings are queens, and the statement 2 is all queens are beautiful. Now, before moving on, let me tell you one thing that was obviously discussed in the last lecture, but I am repeating it to re-emphasize the thing, that you will have to believe what is written in the premise. That is the most important thing. It may seem illogical to you, but you will have to believe what is written in the premise. So, यहाँ पर आपको लगेगा कि how the kings can be queens, but you will have to believe it because it is already stated as a fact. And the conclusions, the possible conclusions we have been told are all kings are beautiful, and then all queens are kings. Now, these are the two scenarios, these are the two conclusions we have been told. And lastly, we have the options, that is only one follows, Peter, only two follows, Charlie, either one or two follows, Delta, neither one nor two follows, and eta, both one and two follow. Now, let's draw the Venn diagram. The statement 1 is some kings are queens. Now, you all know we can draw it many different ways. That will be king and that will be queens. In the same way, it can be drawn like this. There will be queens and there will be kings. It can also be drawn like this. Now here, some kings will definitely be queens. So ये भी हो सकता है, and then finally we can draw it like that as well. Queens and kings. It will again mean the same thing, that some kings are obviously queens. And then the second one are all queens are beautiful. Now, there is a possibility that it means all queens are beautiful, can be drawn like this, and it can also be drawn like this, that all queens are beautiful. अब हम इनको कंबाइन करके देखते हैं. So देखिएगा कि हमने अब क्या करना है, कंबाइन बनाना है. Some kings are queens. Yes, it can be like this, and here we have queens, and because all queens are beautiful, so it can be like this. ठीक है, इसको हम कंबाइन कर रहे हैं किससे, इससे. ठीक है, that all queens will be beautiful, so it means okay, the queens are actually beautiful. Then we can combine this one. Here you have the kings, and here you have queens that are beautiful. So हमने इसको क्या किया, इसको और इसको actually हमने combine कर दिया. Now let's try to combine the figure 3 with this one. That is, these are the kings and these are queens, and we know that all queens are beautiful. So again, no condition is violated. यहाँ पर बड़ा clear है. Now I'm combining this fourth figure with this one. That is queen, kings and beautiful. Yes, that is okay with it. और अब इस फिगर को भी इसके साथ मैं कंपेयर कर रहा हूँ, कंबाइन कर रहा हूँ. That is Q and B, or obviously that will mean K. सही है. अब हम चलते हैं और इन स्टेटमेंट्स को हम वैलिडेट करते हैं. K सॉरी इधर रहेगा Q के साथ. Here we will get K because Q तो सेम है और Q के साथ K नहीं आना है और B साथ रहेगा. Okay, let's verify the statement. All kings are beautiful. Here it holds true, but here it is not. Here too it is not proving worthwhile, and here too it is not considered the true. So this one will automatically be excluded. And all queens are kings. ये तो वैसे भी clear आपको पता लग रहा है that only some kings are queens. तो वहाँ से भी पता लग रहा है, यहाँ भी देख लेते हैं. All queens are kings. No, all the queens are not kings. It is not validated here. Here again, all queens are not kings. Here too, all queens are not kings. It is true here, but here it can also hold true, but we can see that there are at least 3 instances where this statement does not hold true. So our right option will be option delta, that is neither 1 nor 2 follows, because we have seen that both these statements are not verified when we put them to Venn diagram. अब हम चलते हैं इसके लास्ट सिनेरियो पे और अपनी एग्जांपल देखते हैं. लेट्स स्टूडेंट्स एक और एग्जांपल हम देखते हैं एंड लेट्स सी व्हाट वी हैव फॉर अस इन द बॉक्स. Statement 1 is all flowers are free, and statement 2 is no fruit is a, and the conclusion we have are no fruit is a flower, some trees are flowers. Now again, I have told you in the previous chunk of this lecture that you will have to believe what is being told as premises. जो भी आपको premise दिया हुआ है, जो भी या अगर multiple premises दिए हुए हैं, you will have to believe that these are true. Like all flowers are trees. Now it does not seem true. How can the flowers be trees? But you will have to believe that all flowers are trees. So इसको देख लें पहले. Now again we have the same options. Alpha is only one follows, beta is only two follows, Charlie is either one or two follows, delta is neither one or two follows, and eta is both one and two follow. Now let's draw the diagrams so that we can check whether our conclusions are true or not, or which one of the conclusions is true. All flowers are trees, so it can be drawn in two ways, you know. That is flowers and that is obviously tree. It can also be drawn like this. All flowers, sorry, it must be F, all flowers are trees. In both these diagrams, we are actually representing our statement 1. And you know, all वाले जो हमारे premise हैं, वो हम दोनों तरह से express कर सकते हैं. Then secondly, no fruit is a tree. This is the easiest, because it means you'll have to only construct one figure, that is fruit, and here you must have tree. Now we need to combine these two figures और देखना है कि कैसे आप इनको ठीक कर सकते हो. If we draw the first one, if we combine this figure, so we'll get all flowers are trees. ठीक है? All flowers are trees, and इसको हम थोड़ा अपनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए और क्लियर कर देता हूँ, बिकॉज वो दोनों उससे शुरू हो रहे हैं. एंड नो फ्रूट इज अ ट्री. इट मीन्स दैट द ट्री दैट द फ्रूट शुड नॉट ओवरलैप विद ट्री. सो हमारे पास फिगर क्या बनेगी? दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, बी वेरी केयरफुल अबाउट इट. विल गेट द फिगर लाइक दिस, because this is the only figure that can satisfy both these statements. Here, all flowers are trees, yes, and no fruit is a tree. That is also okay. But here again, if I say, let's talk about the second one. That is flowers and tree. Here again, the fruit section should not intersect with anyone, because no fruit is a tree. तो अगर हम इसको intersect करेंगे तो this statement will be violated. So in both these cases there must not be any intersection between fruit and trees. अब इसको हम देख लेते हैं. No fruit is a flower. No fruit is a flower. And here again, no fruit is a flower. So option conclusion 1 holds true. And then some trees are flowers. Yes, some trees are flowers, definitely. And here too, some trees are flowers. Got it? So we can safely say that in this question, our right option will be option eta, that is both 1 and 2 follow. Now these are the 5 scenarios usually discussed. Now I'll discuss some more examples of all these 5 scenarios, and be very vigilant while drawing those Venn diagrams, because the error you make while attempting these questions is only the error of drawing these diagrams. If you have correctly drawn these diagrams, there is absolutely no chance that you will make an error while marking this MCQ. So let's move on to some more examples, draw some more diagrams and learn some more tricks to solve these types of questions. ले मेरे बच्चों कुछ और क्वेश्चन करते हैं. Let's go for it. And this time the statement we have is, number 1 is, all fish are tortoise. And second, no tortoise is a crocodile. So these are the 2 statements. And if we talk about conclusions, we have 2 conclusions, and they are, no crocodile is a fish, and no fish is a crocodile. And again we have been given the same options. Alpha is only one follows, beta only 2 follows, Charlie either 1 or 2 follows, delta neither 1 nor 2 follows, and eta both 1 and 2 follow. So again, going back to the basics, all fish are tortoise. It can be drawn in 2 ways. Now you have got the expertise. That is actually fish and that is tortoise. And it can also be drawn like this. All fish are actually tortoise. So both these scenarios represent our statement 1. And then no tortoise is a crocodile. Here we have the tortoise, and obviously no tortoise is a crocodile means that there will be no intersection between the 2. Now let's move to the next level, and that is of combining these 2 shapes. कैसे combine करेंगे? If I combine this and this, or considering these 2 statements, it must be fish and tortoise, but we know that no tortoise is a crocodile. It means that C must not intersect with this T or F obviously. And same is the case with second one. इसको भी combine करेंगे तो यही बनेगा. If we combine these two, F and T, and obviously because no tortoise is a crocodile, that is why the crocodile circle must not intersect the tortoise circle. So now evaluate our conclusions. No crocodile is a fish. Obviously, no crocodile is a fish. Here too, no crocodile is a fish. So जो universal negative होंगे ना, that are the easiest to solve. वो सबसे ज़्यादा आसान है, because they'll have the minimum shapes to handle or to tackle, as you can see in this question, and we have seen the same in the previous question as well. So no crocodile is a fish, that is true, and no fish is a crocodile, that is also true, and that is true in both these cases. So what shall be the correct option for us? Obviously, that is option eta, that both 1 and 2 follows. So hopefully ये वाले questions हैं, because they are comparatively way easier than the remaining 4 scenarios. So I do hope that you would have understood how to handle when you have a universal negative premise in your questions. अब हम चलते हैं बाकी के 4 scenarios पे, and let's see what we have in the box. ले मेरे बच्चों एक और scenario discuss करते हैं हम, and that is all roads are poles, and the second one is no pole is a house, and the conclusions we have are number 1, some roads are houses, and second, some houses are poles. And the options we have are the same, that is only one follows, beta only 2 follows, Charlie either 1 or 2 follows, delta neither 1 nor 2 follows, and eta both 1 and 2 follow. Now again we have to draw the diagrams. All roads are poles. It can be drawn all roads are poles, and on the other hand it can also be drawn like this. All roads are poles. And then no pole is a house. This is actually pole, and obviously this is actually house. So they must not intersect with each other because there is no common element. Now let's check out the combination of these two. अगर हम पहले का combination बनाएंगे तो it must be something like that. R and P. Now no pole is a house, so the circle of house must not intersect with this circle. This is your house. And secondly, if we combine this one, this particular shape with this, again, we know if we are dealing with roads and poles, the house figure must not intersect with this one. Now, what are the conclusions we have? Some roads are houses. No road is house, and same is the case here. No road is actually house. And on the second hand, some houses are poles. No house is intersecting the pole, and same is the case here. No house is intersecting the pole. So our correct option will be neither one nor two, because हम देख रहे हैं कि ना ही some roads are houses and some houses are poles. Both these conclusions are not verified by using Venn diagram. So we can safely say that here the right option for us will be option delta. Let's students, we are moving on to another example. Statement 1 is some dreams are nights, and statement 2 is some nights are days. And the conclusions we have are all days are either dreams or nights. So now you can see that this is a different sort of a proposition where we are using this conclusion that it can be either day or night. And the second conclusion is, that is actually the first one, and this is the second one. Some days are nights. So here we have the two conclusions, and the options we have are as usual. Alpha is only one follows, beta is only two follows, Charlie is either one or two follows, delta is neither one nor two follows, and eta is both 1 and 2 follow. So now first of all, let's draw the diagrams And because in both these premises we have particular premises and particular positive, so there will be so many different diagrams. So some dreams are nights. It can be something like this. Here we have dreams and here we have nights. It can also be the case with this one. Where you have dreams and here you have nights. It can also be represented in a figure reverse to that, where here you have dreams and in the smaller circle you have nights. And it can also be represented as dreams and nights. So these are the four possibilities we can have. And then some nights are days. Again, it will be the same figure. Here are nights and here do we have days. It can also be represented as days and nights, and we can also represent it like here we have some nights and here we have days, and vice versa as well, where you have days and here you have nights. So now try to combine these figures that can satisfy these two statements. Now let's combine these statements, and because both the statements are particular positive and we need to draw the maximum number of diagrams in particular positive, that is why be ready for a bit of hard work in this particular question. Because you will have to draw each and every possibility using that particular portion. So first I'm combining these two. It is dreams and here we have nights, and some parts can be either, obviously that can be day. इसको हम compare करें. Then I am combining this, that is day and night, but some part of the nights must be dreams. तो इसको भी मैंने combine कर दिया. Now let's combine these two shapes. Here I had night and I had day, but some of the nights, some nights are actually days. So some dreams are nights. तो इसको भी हमने क्या करना है? We need to actually figure it out. It will be in. These are actually dreams. Now I am combining this particular figure with this one. तो तब भी आप देखिएगा. Here we have the day and here we have nights. And some dreams are nights. If I combine It is actually dream. So it is only the combination of the first one. Now talk about the second one. इसको अब सबके साथ हम compare करेंगे. We have dreams and here we have nights. And some nights are days. So it must be, obviously, it must be day. फिर हम इसको इसके साथ अब compare करेंगे, combine करेंगे, sorry. That is D and N. N is already there. And what about D? It must be somewhere here. Dream कहाँ होने चाहिए? यहाँ होने चाहिए. Now if I compare this shape 2 with this one, that is actually N and that is actually day. But now some dreams are nights, so you will have to intersect the dreams. उसको obviously या यहाँ पे लाना पड़ेगा किसी भी तरह से. It will have to be there. So अब इसको continuously जब करते जाएंगे, यहाँ पे भी आप देख लें, तो some dreams are nights. It will not hold true. But some nights are days. It will hold true in every case. So without prolonging, I can safely say with these multiple examples that some nights are always days, because nights are always overlapping with the days. I hope you have got your answer. Hey, मेरे बच्चों, we are here with another example of the same question. Statement 1 is all educated people read newspapers. Ali does not read newspapers. The conclusions are one, Ali is not educated. Reading newspapers is not essential to be educated. And the options we have are, again, only one follows. Beta, only two follows. Charlie, either one or two follows. Delta, neither one nor two follows, and eta, both one and two follow. Now, a mistake you often make is that you start thinking without drawing these diagrams. It may hold sometime true, but sometimes it can be very tricky. and it can give you false results. So I always emphasize that while attempting these types of questions, do draw diagrams. Here is a perfect example of it. You can use your common sense to get to the right conclusion. Like, all educated people read newspapers and Ali does not read newspaper. It means Ali is not educated. It seems true logically, आपको ठीक लग रहा है. But sometimes it is a bluff. Sometimes it is an eye catcher. So to avoid all these things, do draw diagrams and do use these Venn diagrams to reach to the right conclusion. Because sometimes during the test, especially when you will be there in the hall attempting that paper, you will be confused, you will be upset. So trusting your common sense can sometimes be absolutely devastating for you. Secondly, this second conclusion, reading newspapers is not essential to be educated. This has to be validated. इसको तो करना ही करना है validate. So if you have to validate, why not go and check the first one as well, just to minimize, or I should say eliminate the possibility of error. Because remember, in MDCAT you will be fighting for each and every mark, and if you carelessly lose a mark or two, or carelessly mark an MCQ wrong, you will regret for the rest of your life कि ओहो क्या किया मैंने. So बाद के पछताने से पहले ही डायग्राम ड्रॉ करना इम्पॉर्टेंट है. So let's draw and see. देखते हैं. All educated people read newspaper. So that is NP newspaper, and it is done by all educated people. Or you can draw it like that. Educated people, and obviously they read newspaper. And Ali does not read newspaper. So Ali, draw हम वही करेंगे इसको. Has nothing common with newspaper. I've chosen this example for a reason, because sometimes you feel कि वहाँ तो हम चले कह रहे थे कि all A's are B's, or some poles are roads and some roads are poles, or things like that. But यहाँ पर तो हम we are talking about a particular action. But remember, the pattern will remain the same. There will be no change in the pattern. It will remain the same. वही चीज़ हम करेंगे. फर्क सिर्फ क्या आएगा? वहाँ पर हम दो ऑब्जेक्ट्स कर रहे थे, यहाँ पर हम ऑब्जेक्ट और एक्शन कर देंगे. The educated people, they are reading newspaper. Educated people, and they are reading newspaper. We are treating the action as an object. जैसे हम पहले हमने किया था ना, all poles are roads, for example. तो बिल्कुल वही कह रहे हैं. All educated people are reading newspaper. And here Ali is not reading newspaper. It is just like हमने कहा था A, no A is B. It is the same thing. No difference at all. ठीक है, तो treat आपने इसको वैसे ही करना. I have deliberately chosen that example so that you may know if something emerges out in the paper, you should be able to do it. So ये हमारे हो गए. Now let's go and combine these two shapes. Now newspaper, and they are educated people. Now Ali stays away from it. Ali stays away from it. एक तो ये हो सकता है. एक इसकी एग्जाम्पल ये हो सकती है that is the educated people, and that is newspaper, and here too Ali will stay away from it. No problem. But there can be another example, and that is the most interesting thing. अगर आप सिर्फ इन examples पे जाएंगे तो you will feel that both these conclusions are true. Ali is not educated. Good, obviously, because Ali is not educated. And then reading newspaper is not essential to be educated. No, it is not compulsory. Yes, Ali is not educated. It is not included in the group. But it does not mean that whoever is not reading newspaper will not be educated. It is not correct. So here the only option we need is option alpha, that only one follows, because this thing cannot be established using these diagrams. इनके थ्रू आप जो है वो डायग्राम के थ्रू जो है आप you cannot establish that fact that reading newspaper is an essential part of education, or until and unless you read newspaper you cannot be considered educated. So as this conclusion cannot be established, that is why we are going for only option alpha, that is Ali is not educated. Remember, conclusion is something that goes without saying, that is established without any doubt. तो यहाँ पर हम ये तो establish नहीं कर पा रहे. There is no linkage between these two. That is why we can safely say that our correct option will be option alpha. So hopefully इस वाले सिनेरियो को भी आप बच्चे अच्छे से समझ गए होंगे.